I keep moving. Every few nights, new hotel, new city, always staying just out of reach. Tonight, I'm holed up in a seedy Brighton hotel that stinks of mildew and fried fish. Still better than the last place in Portsmouth though. It was little more than a glorified closet in a crumbling Victorian building. My room here is small too. Walls are a sick green, bed creaks every time I move. But it's somewhere to hide, that's all that matters. Otto snorts beside me. His pug face twitches as he dreams. I envy his obliviousness. He has no idea what's going on. That crazy cult's been following us for weeks. They seriously believe he's a god, an ancient Chinese deity reincarnated as a dog. Otto, or just a game. He's happy as long as he's with me, but I'm exhausted. Every time there's a footstep in the hallway or a door scrapes open, my heart lunges. I glance at my phone. Almost midnight. Haven't heard from the police in days. Not that they've been any bloody help. I reported the stalking, the strange messages, the shadowy figures following me from hotel to hotel. All they did was take my statement and send me on my way, dismissing me as some paranoid woman with a vivid imagination. I don't blame them. All things sound insane. A cult, worshipping a pug. Wouldn't believe it either. The phone buzzes, making me jump. A message from an unknown number. We know where you are. My throat tightens. I delete the message immediately, hands shaking. How do they keep finding us? I've been so careful. No social media posts, no credit card use, paying in cash wherever I can. And yet, they always know. Otto stares, blinking up at me with his big dark eyes. He waddles over, nudging my leg with his snub nose. He knows I'm scared. I scratch behind his ear and he licks my hand. It's comforting, in a way, but I can't shake the dread that's been hanging over me. I check the windows, like I've been doing every night since it started, making sure they're locked, that there's no way anyone can get in. But the window here's stuck, jammed slightly open. I tug on it, but it won't budge. I grab a hairpin from the dresser and try to pry it loose, but it's useless. The gap's small, too small for a person to squeeze through, but still makes me uneasy. I pull the thin curtain shut and wedge a chair under the doorknob for good measure. Otto watches me with his head tilted, a look of mild curiosity on his squished face. He hops onto the bed and curls up, snorting softly. Wish I could relax like he does. Instead, I perch on the hard armchair by the door, eyes darting from the clock to the door to the window. Gonna be a long night. Hours pass. Every time I close my eyes, I see the robed figures, faces hidden, reaching out to snatch Otto from my arms. Their altars draped in red silk, candles flickering in the dark, and Otto's face painted on the walls in crude devotional strokes. The images won't leave me. I open my eyes. The darkness of the room is just as suffocating. I must have drifted off at some point because I wake to the sound of shuffling in the hallway. Could be anyone. Drunk guest, cleaning staff starting early. Then I hear it. That soft, eerie chanting, barely more than a whisper, in Mandarin. Otto perks up, ears twitching. He starts to growl, a low, throaty sound I've never heard from him before. I scoop him up and press my back against the wall. My eyes glued to the door, expecting it to burst open. The chanting grows louder, closer, and my mind scrambles to find a plan. Do I run? Stay hidden and hope they leave? Can't call for help. Not again. No one will believe me. Chanting halts. Taps at the door. I hold my breath. Otto squirms in my arms. His growl shifts into a whimper. I clutch him tighter, trying to calm him down. Tapping continues, slow and deliberate. Then it stops. There's only silence. I wait, My heart feels like it'll explode. Footsteps retreat down the hallway. When I'm sure they're gone, I let out a shaky breath. Otto licks my face, sensing my fear. I set him down gently, tiptoe to the door, and peer through the peephole. The hallway's empty. I sag against the door, my legs weak. Can't stay here. With trembling hands, I gather my things and shove them into my backpack. I scoop Otto up and make my way downstairs, careful to avoid the creaky spots on the stairs. The lobby's deserted. I slip out unnoticed, and the cold night air slaps me in the face. I don't have a plan. Just start walking, sticking to the shadows. The streets are quiet. A few late-night revellers stagger out of bars, but otherwise it's just me and Otto. I need to find somewhere those bastards won't think to look. But where? I've been to every cheap hotel in this city, and the thought of taking a train somewhere new makes me sick with dread. What if they're watching the stations, for God's sake? I turn down a side street. The buildings lean close, like they're whispering to each other. I feel exposed, every footstep echoing too loud in the stillness. Maybe I can find a hostel, or even a 24-hour cafe to hide out in until morning. I just need a few hours to figure out my next move. Ahead, I spot a flickering neon sign for a small dingy pub. Light spills out onto the wet pavement. I push the door open. That disgusting smell of beer and sweat hits me. The bartender barely glances up as I take a seat at the far end, with Otto curled in my lap. I order a coffee, though I doubt it's any good, and keep my head down. I attempt to blend in. The minutes tick by. The bitter coffee makes my stomach churn. I keep glancing at the door. The pub remains quiet, the few patrons lost in their own worlds. Almost start to relax when I see him, a man in the corner, staring right at me with dark, unblinking eyes. I tense all over. He's one of them. Don't recognise him, but I can feel it. That same unnerving aura. He doesn't move, just sits there watching. I set my coffee down. Trembling hand nearly spills it. How do I get out of here? He's blocking the door. There's a back exit. Well, there has to be. I slide off the stool, keeping Otto close, and try to casually make my way toward the back of the pub. Slowly and pointedly, the man stands up. I push through the door marked staff only, finding myself in a dimly lit hallway that stinks of stale beer and rubbish. My ears pound as I race down the corridor, Otto tucked under one arm. I see the exit sign, a glimmer of escape in the darkness. I push the door open and stumble out into a narrow alleyway. I run, not looking back. The alleyway twists and turns. I have no idea where I'm going, but I keep moving, fueled by sheer terror. I nearly trip over a pile of rubbish. Otto yelps. I gasp, but I manage to maintain my balance. Footsteps close in behind me. I duck into another alleyway, pressing myself against the wall. My mind yells at me to move, but my legs are lead. The footsteps stop, and then, in the distance, I hear the faint sound of chanting. It's them. I clutch Otto tighter, feeling his little heart thumping against my chest. I can't let them take him. I won't. I spot a fire escape. The metal ladder's just within reach, so I grab it and hoist myself up with all my strength. My muscles scream, but I don't stop, climbing higher and higher until I reach the roof. I scramble over the edge, collapse onto the cold, flat surface. Safe for now, but I know it won't last. They'll keep coming. They always do. I crawl to the edge, peer at the alleyway below. It's empty, but I can feel them, lurking just out of sight. Chanting grows louder, echoes in my ears. I squeeze my eyes shut, tears streaming down my face. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I can't make it stop. Otto licks my cheek. His warm, wet tongue snaps me back to the present. I sit up, cradling him in my arms. He looks at me with those big, trusting eyes, and I feel a surge of determination. I glance around the rooftop. A narrow ledge leads to the next building. It's risky, but it's our only option. I grip Otto tightly, take a deep breath, and inch my way across. The ground far below makes my head spin. We make it to the other side, and I collapse against the wall, my whole body trembling. What will happen next? How do I keep running? At least we're out of harm's way for now. I stroke Otto's fur, murmuring soothing words even as my voice wavers. He doesn't understand, but he doesn't need to. All he knows is that we're together, and that's enough. As the first light of dawn breaks over the city, I allow myself a moment of hope. Maybe we can find a way out of this. I know they won't stop until they have him, but I won't stop fighting for my last breath.